It's a podcast on percent composition. So, for example, if I were to give you some copper and I were to ask you what percent of that sample is copper, well, if it just has copper, it must be 100% copper. So the percent composition is 100%. Now, if I were to ask you the percent composition in water, I could ask you a couple questions. What's the percent composition of hydrogen in water? That would be one question. And another question could be, what's the percent composition of oxygen? So what we need to do is find the molar mass. Remember, M is molar mass, and that's just adding up the masses of the elements from the periodic table. So we have two hydrogens, so it'll be 2 times 1.008 plus 1 oxygen, which is 16, and that adds up to about 18.02 grams. So that's our total mass. We want to find the mass percent of hydrogen. So we would take the total. The total always goes on the bottom. It's like finding your grade on a test. The total's on the bottom. So 18.02 grams is the total mass of the water. And then we would put in the total mass of the hydrogen on top. So this one is for the hydrogen. And we do 2 times 1.08, which is about 2.016 grams, and we get out our handy dandy calculator and we do 2.016, having issues, divided by 18.02. Oh, and we forgot this part. This one always happens in my head with the little people. Multiply it by 100 times 100, and that gives us how many sig figs? Let's do 4 sig figs. So that equals in a really backwards way 11.19% hydrogen. Well, that makes sense. It makes, that's 11 there, people. That water is about 11% hydrogen. And then if you were to subtract from 100, that would be the easy way to do it. The oxygen must be about 88% of water, but let's see if that's really true. Now for the oxygen part, we will take oxygen, which has a mass of 16.00 grams, we're being really picky here, and we'll divide it by, again, that total mass, which is 18.02 grams, and we'll multiply it by 100. We'll get out our handy dandy calculator and go 16 divided by 18.02 times 100. Fun-filled candies. Oh, how many sig figs? I don't know. That's about 88.79. Get our point in there. Percent oxygen. So, a little over 88% of water is oxygen. Interesting. Now let's do the mass percent for sugar. And sugar is C6H12O6. To find the molar mass, which equals 180.55 grams, I should write that over there, I did 6 carbons times 12.01 from the periodic table, and I got that number. And then I did 12 hydrogens times 1.008 and got the 12 number. And then I did 6 times 16, I got the 96, and I added all those up to get that. So now let's do the mass percent of carbon. So if we were to do carbon, it would be, let's change our colors up, it would be 72.36 divided by the total, 180.55. I should put my grammages in there. And we multiply it by 100. And go to our calculator, 72.36 divided by 180.55 times 100. And it's about 40.08% carbon. So when I eat my favorite thing, sugar, I'm getting about 40% carbon. Now let's go to the next part. Now let's do the hydrogen. Hydrogen would be 12.19 because that was the grams of hydrogen divided by, again, that total, 180.55. And we multiply it by 100. And get our calculator out, 12.19. That must have been a good year. Divided by 180.55. Whole macaroni and cheese. I'm having finger issues on my calculator. Try it again. 12.19 divided by slow Miss A, slow, times 100 donuts. And that means hydrogen's about 6.75% of sugar, and that makes sense. Hydrogen's a super light element, and so for sugar, only about 6.75% of that is hydrogen. Now let's do the oxygen. The oxygen should be 96 grams, because that's what I got right there, and those are grams over there. And again, divided by the total mass, which is right there, 180.55. Write in your G's, multiply by 100 fun-filled donuts. Who doesn't like a donut? 96, some people don't. Divided by 180.55 times 100, 53.17%. And all those percents should add up with a little bit of wiggle room to about 100%. So sugar is about 53% oxygen. Oh, so fulfilling. I hope this little mini lesson on percent composition is working out for you. See you in class. Bye-bye.